Fleegan, and the Knicks are where we're starting because things are not great in the state of New York. Here we go. 8 of their last 10 have been losses. The recent home loss to the Suns on Saturday. Jalen Brunson's been out of the lineup last 2 games, did injure his ankle against the Kings, but that really is just the tip of the iceberg. Why don't we take a look at some of their rankings in the Eastern Conference this month so far? Worst record, worst defensive rating, worst true shooting percentage, second worst net rating, third worst assists to ratio, and third worst pace. Wow, that one's a weird one. I don't even know where I'm starting, Boogie, with you, because you're the closest one to me. We've talked so much about them coming out of the East, but are we still feeling that way?
I mean, obviously, with everything that's going on with this team right now, it isn't great signs of them, you know, being the team to come out of the East as of right now. But the biggest thing with the East, as far as this season, is consistency. And they've been, up until this point, probably the most consistent team in the East. But, you know, I think a lot of their issues are starting to come, you know, to a head at this point. Obviously, I've been on record saying I'm not a fan of the small guard being the lead guard for a championship team. So obviously that's a glaring issue. I do think they still need another scoring punch. And also just figuring out the style of play as far as how do you want to use Karl Anthony Towns with this team. So, and also just, you know, really using his strengths to help this team improve. So I think it's a few glaring issues when it comes to this team. You know, to sit here and say which one is the most important as of right now, you know, I think, you know, to each his own. I think it's a coach's perspective, it's a fan's perspective. But with all that being said, they have some glaring issues, and they also got to figure out this roster moving forward.
Yeah, I still think they're competitive in the East. I still think they'll be there in the you know, the Eastern Conference semis or the Eastern Conference Finals. I do. I think they're that talented enough. They're getting some production from their bench, more so than with Thibs teams. You've seen flashes from Clarkson, Shamet, Kolek, like they're getting stuff from their bench. It's just not enough. And certain times I watch this team, and Cat just looks so disengaged. They have to figure out a way to get him, I don't want to say motivated, but more aggressive, more dominating. And same thing with Bridges. And I know what it's like. They're playing with Jalen Brunson, who is phenomenal. He's one of the greatest Knicks already of all time. But when you have a guy with that much ISO and that much usage rate, it just kind of bogs down the offense and kind of creates frustration within that team. And again, Jalen Brunson's a great dude. I think people love playing with him, playing, you know, as a guy in the locker room. I just think that when the ball gets sticky like that, it kind of gets a little frustrating for the offense. So, which is crazy too, because their offense early on was so elite, and they just looked so good, you know, 16, 17 games ago in the NBA Cup. But they just got to find a way to be more consistent because they have the talent, and now all of a sudden they have the depth, but it's still not enough. Like it's a very confusing team so far.
So here's what I find fascinating about this, because they have not had a stretch like this since 1920. That was under Fizz, shout out Fizz. And then you get rid of Thibs, and shout out Thibs. A lot of people didn't like that. Now you got Mike Brown, and people love Mike Brown, but here we are. Shout out Mike Brown. These are 3 people that I actually genuinely like. However, there was a lot of crying and whining and fussing about all of the changes that were being made, whether you were for or against the firing of Thibodeau. I don't, you know, I'm not sure, Lou, how we're supposed to feel about this right now with Mike Brown. Is this a coaching thing? Is this just a moment?
Yeah, don't panic. Like, it's a lot of basketball to be played, right? Like, we're not even at the halfway point yet, and we're ready to throw out everything, you know, when it comes to Mike Brown. Like, there will be an adjustment period, especially if you're trying to change the style of play and the identity of play, and you're bringing in a system that you want to constitute to make y'all play better basketball. You know, we're looking at a basketball team that plays a lot of ISO basketball, and they don't guard at the same clip. You know, you look at all of the defensive ratings and the offensive ratings, like, you know, the guys were talking about Cat, right? They have to find a way, Mike Brown has to find a way to get him more aggressive. Half of his shot attempts usually are 3-pointers, deep 3-pointers. And this is your 5. And he's one of the best big shooting men in the league. He's self-proclaimed, I'm the best big that can shoot the basketball, but nobody can stop Cat when he puts the ball on the floor. Nobody stops him when he puts his back to the basket. Nobody stops him when he's 10 feet from the basket, but he's living and dying from the 3-point line. And then you have Jalen Brunson, who's also an aggressive guard that likes to post up, that likes to play ISO basketball. And so outside of those 2 guys, you don't necessarily have the identity of an ISO basketball team. So if you're not making shots and you don't have the ability to make shots and put pressure on teams on the offensive end, it looks like it's leading to them playing bad defense, straight line drives, allowing teams to get into the paint. And any team that's going to allow a team to get to their paint and kick the ball out for threes or just lay the basketball up, it's going to be hard for them to beat anybody. So collectively, I think they have a lot of things that they need to adjust, that they need to fix. But I don't think you panic right now if you're New York. Look, 8 out of 10 in your last 10 are losses. That's not something that you want to see, but you're also still in third. That's also still something to be motivated by. You're still 1 game out of 2.
Yeah.
You're a half game out of 4. Like, you're still in the mix. You want to play better basketball, but the 2 teams before them are just in a roll right now, and they look crazy not being one of those teams right now, to me.
It's crazy when you look at the team ratings. They're the 4th rated offense still after this 10-game stretch. This third slowest pace. Like, they're playing slow. They're turning the ball over. They're not moving the basketball and making the next extra pass because there's a lot of ISO and a lot of heavy one-on-one.
Just one pass,
a lot of heavy
shot.
pick and roll. Exactly. It's almost like just take turns offense, and that there's not a lot of history there with success. So when you look the 4th offense and I think the 18th rated defense, I would feel like those would be switched. Like with OG and Bridges and Josh Hart, those guys that can switch 1 through 5. No matter what's happening on the offensive end, they need to be a much better defensive team as well.
Think about this when you have a team like this with an identity of we're just going to rely on our guys to make shots, right? The last 5 minutes of a game in ISO, and you know that's not going to work. The ball never moves side to side.
Right.
It never goes side to side. They never get into a set where the ball is moving or ATO, something that can get them moving. Instead, they just continue to play ISO basketball. And looking at the teams that they played recently, the Phoenix, the Warriors, you can't beat teams like that.
Oh.
They're going to make you play on both ends of the floor, especially with the offensive identity that those groups have. And so when you have that and you don't match it, it's a recipe for disaster for New York, and that's what's been happening to me.
It's kind of crazy. You listed all those things. There's also 2 games away from being a play-in team. Like, that's just how wonky everything is.
They are lucky that Eastern Conference is not that deep.
No, it's a little bit nuts,
And
actually.
they should be lucky that it's early as well.
Yeah.
If you're
A lot
going
of
to struggle,
basketball.
if you're going to go through adversity, this is the time to do it.
I mean, it depends. Are we half full or half empty? Because we are halfway. Like, is that how we're looking at it?
I'm half.
If I'm in third place, I'm half full.
I'm
Half
half
full,
full.
okay.
Just looking at the big picture of the Eastern Conference, I truly think I can compete against the Pistons and the Celtics in a 7-game series. Now I have to work to do, and I have to show how I can be more consistent on both ends of the floor. But every team behind us, 4 through 15, I truly think the Knicks are better than, and I know they believe that as well. And they've shown flashes of greatness. They got to get Kat going first and foremost.
How are we
Cat
still
gotta
saying
wanna
that?
get going,
How are we?
too.
Yeah,
But how
is
you
that a
halfway
thing?
through the season still saying you have to get a player going?
All I remember is his
He's a
comments.
he's a
his
max
comments,
player.
His comments during training camp was, I don't know his role.
Right off the bat.
Then his numbers go down. But then he's had big games. So this has kind of been just like a roller coaster for him. And again, he is too talented to have this kind of inconsistency.
But I think that also goes into their playing style. We keep talking about ISO basketball. If your identity as a team is ISO basketball, then your teammates, outside of the guy that always has the ball in his hands, your teammates are going to have up and down games because you're playing ISO basketball. He doesn't know when to expect to get his shots. He doesn't know where his spots are on the floor. So it makes sense. I think, and I've been saying it all.
Do you think this
It's
is
a playing style situation.
This is a playing style situation, or this is a Cat situation?
I think it's a playing style situation. Obviously, your best player is Jalen Brunson.
Correct.
Obviously, you need
He's
the
one
ball
of the
in
best
his hand.
ISO players in the
Absolutely.
game.
So
but
when-
you're not going to win games with an unathletic, undersized ISO guard that only finds shots for himself and not for others.
So it's like
I think he's averaging
But
a
is
little
that
under
not what you
5 assists.
knew what
That's-
you were
that's-
getting when you brought Mike Brown over? Or maybe they
That
didn't know
may
that's
be
what
true,
they were
but it's
getting?
still a playing style that has to be addressed because, yeah, you have one part of the puzzle piece playing at a high level.
Sure.
What about everybody else in the puzzle piece?
So it's the same conversation we have about Luka and James Harden. Now, can you win a championship with Jalen Brunson playing this way?
I think this question has already been answered 1,000 times.
No.
I think we've seen it 1,000 times. ISO basketball isn't winning you games.
Yeah.
I take that back. ISO basketball will win you games. It won't win you a championship.
Yeah. Well, they play so slow. You said the third slowest
That's what I'm
pace too,
saying.
so they get in the half court.
It's
And
everything.
especially in the playoffs too, where they're going to take away everything you do best. So now all of a sudden they're blitzing Jalen Brunson. Now they're trapping him at half court. Or we've seen even this last week they're double teaming Cat. in the post, and he's making horrific turnovers, and then the fans are getting frustrated, and the fans are getting more. I feel like the fans are frustrated with Mike Brown and Cat, and I don't know who they're more frustrated with. I think it's probably Cat because he's on the floor playing, but I just feel like Cat's going to be the scapegoat in the situation.
Okay, so wait, because I've seen this movie called Julius Randle before, so I'm wondering how does that play out with Cat? Is he going to be? Are we moving him? I mean, he's owed a lot of money.
I think they're on the phone with the Bucks right now.
Wait, really?
I think if you're what do you guys think? Do you think the Knicks right now after this 10-game skid? Did they say, okay, I'll give you
But
Cat.
they're third in the West.
I'll give you Cat.
That's the thing. They are third in the West.
I was about to say, that's the problem is they still have a certain level of success right now.
Yeah.
So
if you look ahead, do you really think they're better than Boston and Detroit when
I think they have a chance.
But again, when you're in the conversation, it's only one way to know. Yeah. We got to line it up in a 7-game series.
If you're a GM, you have to figure this out now.
But if I'm the GM and I'm sitting in third place and I don't see a huge separation between 1, 2, and myself, I'm not panicking. Even though I'm in a bad stretch right now, everybody is going to have some adversity.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm saying. Everybody is going to go through something this season. So if I'm going to go through it, this is the time to go through it. That's why everybody's frustrated with Mike Brown. Why are you laughing? Why are you smiling? Because if I'm going to go through some turbulence, I want it to be before the All-Star break where I can make adjustments. Or we might be able to bring a guy in here or there. I can tinker some things or I can figure it out. Like, you don't want to have this problem in February, March, going into the dog days of the season. You want to have those issues now. So I still think it's salvageable right now.
I want to know what okay, so 57 and 61. Those are the next 2 seasons owed to Cat. Nice. Anyone here thinks he finishes that in a Knicks uniform? Boogie?
I think this is a make or break year. I don't think anything is done as of right now as far as them, making a big splash with their team. But, when the offseason does come around, I do think those conversations will be had. And obviously the name that's being attached to this Knicks team is Giannis, and rightfully so. If any team has the opportunity to get a player like Giannis, I think at minimum they'll have a conversation about it. They'll consider it. So, I think this is a make or break year, and I definitely think, if it goes wrong for this Knicks team, this is a real conversation.
And the Bucks team, because talk about perfect time. They've lost 3 in a row. Like, they're also falling apart.
That's what I'm saying.
Time.
They're right in the mix with everybody else.
It's kind of the perfect storm right now.
I think the only thing, like Lou basically just touched on, that's going to keep the Knicks in a standstill is the hope that they can still get out of the Eastern Conference. Like, I swear, they think they're better than the Pistons. They think they are better than the Celtics.
Are they?
They have enough talent, and they
Tatum's coming.
And so, like, I do think there's no reason to panic here. But you start looking at a dude that's 30 years old making that much money. I think they're answering calls for sure, but I don't think they're in panic mode just yet.
I'm a game and a half out of 2, and I'm a game out of 4. I'm not panicking.
But you're 2 out of the play.
You're also 2 out of 8.
Yeah, but
That's
listen,
crazy.
so you asked the question, do you look at the cup half full or half empty?
I'm a half empty.
I'm not looking that way. I'm trying to get to 2. And even though I'm 8 and 10 and I'm still where I am and I'm still a game away from second, if I'm the coach or if I'm in this locker room as a player, hey, bro, we in a bad stretch right now, but we still in the conversation.
So, like, I don't want to be a dead horse on the
That's how I
Giannis,
look
on
at
the
it.
Giannis
You always
thing,
say
though.
that.
But so Cat and OG and a couple picks, who says no, Bucks or Knicks?
Nobody. Well, yes.
I don't
the
think they
Bucks.
give up. I don't think they give
You
up.
think they want more?
Correct. For Giannis.
I don't think the Knicks give up.
Whoa. Oh. Okay.
Really?
I mean, I wouldn't want to give up OG,
I would think more of a Mikal Bridges.
Damn, that was expensive. That was an expensive turnaround. All right, fair enough. Well, look, everyone seems to be having weird times at the worst time or best time. Market 1 to market 2, Lakers, Europe also struggling a little bit. Seems